Alright, so now that the gauntlets are done, I need to move on to the chest plate. And the model maker that I'm using for this is Mystery Makers, which I've done a lot of prints from Mystery Makers on my YouTube channel, so you can go check that out. One of my favorites is probably the Chewbacca bowcaster that I did for a friend. That one was really neat. But the one that I am going with for the chest plate is a Paz Vizsla chest plate, which is too big for my printer, so I had to print it in 2 pieces. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to sand down these edges and then fuse the back together by PLA welding it with my soldering iron. And then once they're one piece, I'll sand it all down and paint it, and yeah, it should look pretty good. First thing I'm gonna do is sand these edges so that I can E6000 them together before I do the welding. This isn't going to hold it together by any means, but it ain't gonna hurt either, but it will also kind of help fill in some gaps between these. I have the E6000 down the seam. We have a couple of clamps on here and a couple of binders as well, just to kind of hold the shape nice and tight together. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my soldering iron and just put in a couple of stitches like so. There we go. So these should hold it together now, and yeah, we'll let it dry, and then we'll do the same thing to the front. Well, I've welded it together to the point where it's, you know, solid. It's not falling apart anymore. Did a lot on the back, and the back don't matter because no one's going to see it, but the front does. You're going to see that. This will be under a piece, so that doesn't have to be clean. But let me show you what I'm doing to try to make it look cleaner. I'll put in a fresh weld right here, so I'm just going to weld this like so, and then I'm going to kind of fill it in a little bit, right? And then once it's filled in, I'm going to take some of the support material that I've pulled off another piece. I'm just going to try to shave some off, and I'm going to put it on that weld that I just did, and I'm going to warm it up until it turns like putty. By the way, PLA is toxic, so you don't want to breathe the fumes. But you see I start filling that hole, and when it's still nice and warm, I'll just press on it a couple of times without trying to burn myself. And then once it's all nice and cool, I'll go and sand over this. And we'll try to sand it smooth, and then when we do the Bondo and everything, you won't see that hole anymore. And there we go, you can see how that's filled in quite nicely. Nice and smooth. And the rest of it I'll be able to get with just filler with Bondo. Alright, so we have some sanding done on the chest plate. I also did do just a little bit of Bondo glazing spot putty in the seam and a couple of the spots that I thought might need it that were pretty deep. But now we're going to go ahead and give this a shot of filler primer and then sand that. Alright, this is the first round of sanding on the filler primer. You can see I've pretty much taken all the filler primer off and just left what was down in all of these layer lines. But looking pretty good, should look really good after the second pass. And there's our Paz Vizsla chest plate from Mystery Makers. What do you guys think? Sizing's pretty good. I don't know. I think I know Jon Favreau did the voice in season 1, but the actor who is in the suit is like 6'1", 6'2", and I happen to be 6'1", so I left the size 100% and fits me pretty good. But yeah, so here it is. I'm pretty happy with it. Did all the painting. I still have a whole bunch of weathering to do. You can see I started to do just a little bit of weathering on the resin printed pieces. But yeah, and then to fit this all together, I did the E6000 down the seam and the PLA welds, just like I did on everything else. But you can see even if I hold it from this bottom piece here, it's like not flimsy at all. It's pretty strong. So yeah, pretty happy with how that turned out. Yeah, I just need to figure out the straps. It has an area to put straps on here, so just need to figure that part out, finish weathering, and I should probably do like a back plate or jetpack or something, but Comic Palooza, the con that I'm getting ready for, is like right around the corner. Totally under that con crunch, so I think I'm just gonna throw a cape over it and call it a day. I just need to get through enough pieces of the kit that I have enough at least to wear to the con. But yeah, that's it for the chest plate, and yeah, this is the way. May the force be with you all. Catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.